Governor, thank you so much for your speech today. It was awesome. You're a phenomenal speaker. I was telling your guy.
Well, thank you.
Can you talk about your first year experience as governor? What were you most proud of?
Well, I think a couple things. First of all, we were able to present a new budget that was literally spent $1 billion less than we did last year, but it was unanimously passed, House and Senate. Every Republican, every Democrat voted for it. That showed that people are buying into the priorities and the hard decisions we have to make. I think the second thing is this: we really spent a lot of time focusing on how do we deliver better services to Tennesseans for the tax dollars they pay, and that mentality is one that I hope can grow and spread.
You mentioned being able to work apart from party line, pull both sides together, something that our federal government isn't able to do.
That's right.
What did you do differently that's able to pull both Democrats and Republicans together to work together?
I think there's a couple keys. First is listening. Listening always makes a difference. Second is you define the problem and then say, what's the right solution? Put the politics aside for a while. In fact, what's the right solution to it? And I think that's what our country's craving for. Everybody's frustrated that Washington is broken, and they want to see how it works. In the states, we have to make it work. We have to balance our budgets. We have to solve problems. We can't push it off to the next generation. And I think that forces us to sit down and listen and work toward the best solution rather than just what our solution is.
Recently, President Barack Obama unveiled his plan for the new Army budget, which included some decrease in cuts. As you know, Clarksville has a very, very strong military presence here. How are you as a governor able to help us out in Washington to try to protect our soldiers here?
Well, I think a couple of things. First, it starts with just a fundamental belief and conviction that of how important our military is to our country and the role that they played, and we want to have the national defense play for who we want to be as a country. I think that's first. The second is to say, while we understand the problems with the budget in Washington, let's make certain that we're being smart about where we're cutting and the impact of those things. And so I would ask him to do the same thing we've done in Tennessee. Be very strategic about your priorities and where you're going to have the discipline to make those cuts.
Clarksville, the fifth largest city in the state of Tennessee.
That's right, and growing.
Yes, sir, very fast. You mentioned several times in your speech today that our Economic Development Council here, or team, has done a great job. How is that, what we've accomplished as a city, affecting the state as a whole?
Well, I think a couple of things. First of all, obviously, the economic development efforts that you've made to produce economic results that help us as a state, and then that helps us, fund all the things that we need. I think secondly, it shows how attractive Tennessee is. And so when one company locates here and does well, other people go, hey, maybe Tennessee should be on my radar. Success is contagious. And the success you've had here, hopefully, is spreading across the state.
Yes, sir. Another question I had: the two tax cuts you're proposing. Can you explain those a little bit more?
Sure. Real quickly, cutting the grocery sales tax, it's currently 5.5%. Grocery is one item that everybody in the state buys, regardless of your income level. We want to have that be as low as possible, so we're committing to cutting it from 5.5% to 5% over the next 3 years. The estate tax is the tax that you pay when you die, which some people think is just kind of fundamentally unfair in itself, that because you died you owe a tax. But regardless of what it is, because our exemption level is $1 million compared to a federal exemption level of $5 million, a lot of people just leave the state. They go, well, it's cheaper for me to die in Florida, and so they do that, and they move to Florida. The problem is it's taking away those people, but not just that, also the capital that they might invest in businesses here. And then it penalizes that person who has a family farm. They've had in the family for generations, but now the tax they owe on it when they die might force them to sell their farm.
What is the impact of those type of tax cuts?
Well, I mean, long term, I think the impact of the estate tax will actually bring in more money as more people stay here and invest. Short term, it will cost us about $14 million. The cut in grocery sales tax will cost us about $18 million. But again, I think it's the right thing to do.
And is this a start for something, a lower grocery tax in the future?
We
have a lot of people go to Hopkinsville to buy.
We do, and like right now, it's ours is it's at 5.5. We're moving it to 5. The sales tax on other items is 7. That's just the state portion, not counting the local option. So we want to obviously have that be as low as we can.
Okay. And the final question: presidential primaries coming up, and what's going on now? Are you leaning anyway?
Well, I actually have endorsed Governor Romney because I think his experience as a governor and in business, at the end, I think he's learned how to solve problems. at the end of the day, I don't care what you say. Everybody would look at Washington and say they're not solving problems. We need somebody that's done that.